Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So what is going on, and welcome back. So today's video is going to be, slightly off track from what I've been doing lately, which has just been working on other people's stuff. And the reason for that is because I'm about to leave town tomorrow. I'm going to go visit some family for my birthday, which is on the 17th. And I'm just going to go to Missouri and go visit my mom. So nothing crazy, nothing exciting. So I won't be taking my camera. There's nothing to film, I'm not going to have a rental. I'm just flying in. She's picking me up, and I'm just kicking it at her house for a week. And just enjoying time with family. So, and it's also because of the holidays, I'm assuming. It's just been a slower month for work at the shop. So, I was just trying to not spend a bunch of money. The electric power steering setup was more money than I probably should have spent. But that's all right, because I'm super happy with the results of it. And yeah, anyway, today's video, obviously by the title, I've had this S2000 now for like just about 2 years. So it's December right now, come start of March. It'll be 2 full years driving this S2000 as my daily driver. So I figured, you know what? I get a lot of DMs and a lot of comments and stuff about S2000s, whether it's people wanting them or knowing if I have any leads on any, cheaper ones, or I get quite a few messages of people that just bought S2000s and they're asking for, best things to do right off the bat and stuff. So I can kind of talk on that a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to get more along the lines of what is it actually like daily driving an S2000 from a more normal perspective, instead of just like some car review guy on YouTube, because obviously I don't do that. So I guess first thing to talk about on the list is the size of the space and storage in this car. Obviously it's a 2-door roadster, it's meant to be a sports car. It's not very spacious. So I am like roughly 5'9". I weigh like 165 pounds right now, and you can see I've also got a Sparco QRT bucket seat, something like that. So I got a Sparco bucket seat in here, and you'll notice I also have the quick release wheel like you saw. So I did the quick release first because after my first long road trip in the car, I learned, even though I am a smaller person, the steering column in this car does not tilt. Normally, it's not a huge issue. I never used the tilt in any of my other cars. My Miata didn't have it, but the Miata just sat you a little bit lower, whereas in the S2000, the stock seats and the stock seating position sits you, a little bit higher up in the car. So for me, even being the smaller guy that I am, I was having comfortability issues on long drives where I just couldn't position my legs appropriately, so I was comfortable, because on the long drives, I like to, throw cruise control on. I'll slouch down in my seat, I'll pull my legs up on the floor off the pedals, and I'll just chill, and it wasn't that easy with the stock steering wheel. So I took it off, it's sitting on my shelf, and I put in the Momo and the NRG quick release in here, and that just gives you a heap of room. And then also, a lot of the time when I'm driving these things is because I'm going to events, and sometimes I'm socially anxious and I don't like to eat in public really. So I'll eat in the car, and with the steering wheel popping off, it just makes that much more sense to me. It's nice, it's simple, it's easy. But yeah, obviously space is a huge issue. Is it a grocery getter? Yeah, if you're a bachelor, maybe if you're, dining for two. But at least for a family man, yeah, it's probably not the best for that, because the trunk space is pretty small. I don't know exactly how big or deep it is, but you guys can get the idea. I keep a tool bag in there. I don't have a spare tire. My car didn't come with one, so in the spare tire well, which is behind the carpet in the corner, is where I keep my amplifier and stuff. So it works for me. There's definitely situations where you need a bigger one. So in this case, like when I bought my air compressor for my shop, I just put the top down, took the passenger seat out, and you gotta do what you gotta do. It worked out for me, but yeah, overall, not the most practical. So it's not the most practical in that sense, because you gotta think. But I have road tripped this car a lot. I've driven this car in 2 years, almost 40,000 miles. I'm at like 35,000 right now that I've driven it, and it's been great. But yeah, on the road trips, it does kind of lack a little bit in storage, because when it comes to long drives, if you've got bigger thighs or whatever, I can see how it gets cramped, and especially if you have 2 people in here. Part of the issue being that there is no storage space. Your glove box is what's here in the center, so you know, you don't have any room. So that's kind of the crappy part, is if you do have a partner on a road trip with you, you got to put stuff in the trunk, and then, you know, if you need something, you got to pull at a rest stop, get your stuff. But otherwise, in a daily sense, you know, again, I guess more daily-able practicality sense, yeah, whatever. You guys get the idea. It's not the greatest, but, you know, something it is good at, you get a lot of attention. I mean, everywhere I go, I'm getting, you know, whether it's enthusiasts that are just like, oh, dude, sick car, love the S, or something like that. At the gas station, you get the dudes that, you know, waving you by as you're driving. You even get a lot of older gentlemen or older folk, you know, like the Mopar guys, you know, the muscle head, old head dudes that are just like, muscle car stuff, and then they see this and they're like, oh, that's a pretty slick looking car. And it's like, at least out here in Arizona, most older dudes and muscle car guys are pretty cool about it. But I mean, yeah, who doesn't love getting the attention? That's obviously not why I bought the car, but like, it's definitely a perk. It turns heads, even in stock form, even before I did, you know, the big spoiler and the J's front bumper and all that. You know, it's a good looking modern car for how old it is, and it's appreciative. I do gotta say, despite it being a 4-cylinder though, you would think it would get great gas mileage. In a general sense, you know, a 4-cylinder is usually more fuel efficient. But that's not really the case in this sense. So this car averages, I want to say, around 25 miles a gallon freeway, which isn't horrible by any means, especially compared to the work truck that I use that my dad and I share for me to go get material. That old Ram 1500 V8 gets like 10 miles a gallon. Yeah, this is a little bit better. I average between, you know, my daily drive, which is half freeway, well, mostly freeway, part city street, I average 250 miles to a tank. If I'm, you know, road tripping, I can easily get 300 miles to a tank out of it. So it picks it up on the freeway for sure when you don't have to keep stopping going. But overall, the fuel economy really isn't that good. So it does run premium. It is, you know, a high compression motor. So right now, you know, it's just a little expensive to be kind of daily driving this for somebody like me that doesn't make a lot of money. So would I change it? No. I mean, I'm used to it at this point because every car I've ever owned, other than my Del Sol, when I first got it, has run 91. So it is what it is. But overall, comfortability and practicality and like looks and stuff aside, I think it is a fantastic daily driver, especially in the sense that it's so simple. It's not like a lot of these new cars where, you know, you got your touchscreen head unit set up, you got whatever else there is for distractions. There's no automatics in S2000s, you know, it is just a 6-speed manual. And then as you can kind of get the idea here, you've got all your instrument stuff, your climate control, your radio, all within finger's reach, which is awesome because it helps you to not be distracted while you're driving. But on the topic of distraction, your car, because it is, again, a little roadster, you do kind of get, you know, you go unnoticed a little bit. Like, it was way worse in my Miata because for whatever reason, it was an upside down bathtub. It was white and sparkly. I don't know how people missed it, but like the S2000 is a bright silver car, but still with today's, you know, modern cars, more SUVs out here in Arizona, you got a lot of the soccer moms ripping around in, you know, Yukon, Suburbans, bigger SUVs like that. And dudes out here with work trucks, lifted trucks, there's a lot of time. Oh, there's a pony. I don't want to scare him. Yeah, there's a lot of the time where I get pushed out of my lane on the freeway, so that is kind of a downside, is you kind of have to drive the car like, lack of a better term, like an asshole, because you got to be kind of the guy, at least on the freeway, that's ripping around, bobbing and weaving in cars, because if you don't drive very offensively, you're going to get defense right into the lane next to you, and that's obviously not a very good thing. So definitely a downside is the size of the car in that aspect, but I mean, it's kind of give and take. I'm more of an offensive driver to begin with because I just don't trust other people on the road. So, I mean, for me, it works out, but trust me, there is times where I'm just trying to chill and I can't just granny drive and chill because people are just, they don't see you. You're small. But I do want to say, though, that, you know, for me, I'm one of the types of car guys, whatever you want to call it, where if it's not fun, what's the point in, you know, having it or doing it? Like, I fully 120% understand the point of a practical daily driver that's comfortable, clean, efficient, whatever you want to say, but nothing really beats having a car like an S2000 as a daily driver where it's fun to get into, where you don't have to, you know, be the boring guy, you know, sitting in his Hyundai Elantra or his Ford Focus on his way to work on the freeway, just, you know, sad, wearing a frowny face. I mean, this thing, half the time when I was still working at Hassport, working my day job, I'd be rolling to work, you know, top down, music blasting and stuff, just like, yeah, when I got to work, I was unhappy at that point because I was doing the 9-to-5 stuff, you know, it's corporate America, blah, 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 but like, the whole way there, I'm just like, yeah, you know, this is sick. I mean, I'm living life. For that short period of time, you just got pure bliss. So, I am the kind of guy that just likes to have a fun daily driver. Most practical, not exactly. There's plenty of times where, you know, it's just easier to hop in my girlfriend's 10th gen Civic and just go out. I mean, especially since we got a lot of dogs. We got 3 dogs, you know, if we want to take the dogs to the park or to the river or something. Obviously, we can't fit 2 humans and 3 dogs in a sports car, but a time and a place. But for the most part, especially since I do 90% of things by myself, completely fine. Is there any downsides really to this car, or am I just trying to like hype this up to make it sound like this is the greatest thing in the world? No, there's definitely downsides, don't get me wrong. There's not a whole lot of them, but just a few like annoyances that you have, but for the most part, most of them are fixable. Like for example, I have an AP1. You get a single cup holder right here in the center console. Quick fix to that, spend $50 on the Modify website, get yourself this cup holder here. It actually becomes removable, you know, folds in like that, just goes in your trans tunnel, like where your netting is on your passenger side. Best purchase I've ever made for this car, I think. And it just, normally when you can see, there we go. Yeah, it clips in just like that. But that's, you know, easy solution. You know, oil consumption on an AP1 mostly, that's obviously an issue. I usually top off my oil every time I get gas. I'm usually down 1 or 2 diamonds depending on how hard I've been driving the car, but you know, that's just part of the game. It's kind of what you deal with driving, you know, an S2000, especially an AP1. But another really tedious thing is like, granted, this is the newest car I've owned and it's an 03, so like I can't really complain too much, but like, and I know it's a convertible, but this car has its share of creaks and rattles, and it would be nice to have a much more quiet, practical, smooth, 4-door, sealed roof daily driver. Like this window, when it goes down all the way, you get a little bit of a rattle. You know, your soft top latches kind of chirp and squeak a little bit. My frame chirps and squeaks a little bit on these rough roads out here. It's not the most sealed car, that's just me being petty. But I mean, it's to be expected, I guess, at the end of the day. Being a convertible and a sports car, you know, they're just not perfectly sealed. But I mean, on the plus side though, at least compared to my Miata, even with a new soft top, my Miata always found a way to leak water inside. This thing, S2000s really don't leak. It's fantastic. Like, Del Sol's came out the factory pissing water like you were going swimming in Google Lagoon, but not the S2000. They did a really good job on the soft top and the seals on these cars. But overall, my biggest complaint with the car, and it is just in the nature of the car, again, AP1, you know they're known for high rev, 9,000 RPM, that whole shindig. But the issue with that being a daily driver is like, more in today's car standards, is everything is big displacement SUVs or you know, small displacement turbo cars, and it sucks because this is a low torque, high revving, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. So I have to rev the piss out of this thing to get really anywhere. If I want to get around somebody on the freeway, you know, I cruise in 6th gear doing, you know, 75, 80. I gotta drop it down to at least 4th to get into my power band to, you know, get really actually around anybody at any sort of decent pace. And that's not the worst thing if it's, you know, here and there, but, you know, especially this time of year, snowbird season, you got grannies doing 40 in the right lane on the freeway when the speed limit's 65. Then you got Joe Schmo with the lifted yee truck doing, you know, 95 a buck 10 in the left lane. So you got to be constantly in the move, on the move, like everyone between. So you're constantly just like 4th and then 3rd and then VTEC and then 4th and then, you know, 5th and then 3rd, like that, and then just blah, and it just gets annoying. I mean, main gripe, that's really my main gripe. A lot of shifting to get into the power band to get around people, to get around on the freeways and stuff, and then no storage space. Other than that, I honestly don't think that this can be a better daily driver. And my buddy Ramon always told me before I got my S that once you drive an S, especially, you know, in a long period of time, nothing else compares to it. And that's 100% true, because that's played part in every other car that I've driven since I've bought my S2000. My Integra, basically obsolete to me, because even though it's K20 turbo right-hand drive, no AC, no heater, it now has power steering, obviously, if you saw the video. But, you know, harnesses, all that stuff, no radio yet. Whereas the S2000, it's so easy. You get in, it's comfortable, it's stylish, kick-ass heat, ice cold AC, top down when you want it. I got nice radio in here because I spent good money to get it all done, but regardless, it had a radio to begin with. And it's just simple. You don't have to worry about your oil temps, your, you know, all that stuff. You just get in, you drive, you smack VTEC, you enjoy it, you throw some smiles around, you get some smiles back. But anyways, guys, I don't want to drag this on all day. I just wanted to get out of the house for a little bit before, you know, I hit the road in the morning, early morning. I got a freaking early bird flight. My flight leaves at like 5:30 in the morning. So I got to be up at the butt crack of dawn. And, you know, I'm just trying to kill energy, so I have anxious energy for my travel. So I wanted to get, you know, out of the house, film a video, especially since I only have one other video in the back before I leave. So I'll be gone for a week. Wanted something to put up, so hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you like the style of video, please let me know, because I definitely don't mind driving around talking about topics. I just never know what to talk about. I'm not very good at video planning. But if you want to help support the channel, by all means, I have a P.O. box you can send stuff to. Yeah, you know, I got merch in the big cartel and stuff. And yeah, hopefully this coming new year means big things for the shop and the channel. But, you know, we'll see. We're making our way a day at a time. So thanks for watching, spending some time with me here on your day. And do what you love. Forget about the rest. We'll see you in the next one. We'll see you when I get back. Peace out.